Hello, this is Studying Metazoan Anatomy through Dissections. In this presentation, we'll be examining the anatomy of rats. So to give a quick background on rats, they're part of the animal kingdom, the Chordata phylum, and the Sarcopterygi class. They're also considered rodents, and so some of its related species that are also rodents would be chickmunks or possums. Moving on to their habitat, rats tend to be very versatile animals, and what I mean by this is that they're able to survive in rough conditions that other organisms may not be able to, as long as they have the necessary resources of food, water, shelter, they're able to survive. Historically, rats tended to live in forests, together in communities where they would help support each other, but as time has gone on, they become more comfortable living in close quarters with humans, so now we tend to see them more in urban areas such as the subway or even in basements. For their mating habits, rats tend to have multiple partners throughout their lifetime. They are able to reproduce very rapidly compared to other species. And this is because their gestation period only lasts less than a month. This also gives us some insight into why rats are sometimes considered invasive species, because once they invade an area, they're able to spread very quickly. In the food chain, rats are considered prey by many animals that are bigger than them, such as birds, snakes, or even other rodents. For their own diets, they can also eat other organisms, and this is a wide range of organisms from fish, lizards, chicks, other rodents, and even plants. Rats actually help prevent the overgrowth of these populations. In the circulatory system, we observed the heart, which had 4 chambers, a left atrium, right atrium, and 2 lower ventricles. We also saw some other supporting anatomical features such as the arteries, which carried blood to other regions of its body, as well as the veins, which were taking blood into the heart. Our rat actually had blue dye, which highlighted these different features. For the respiratory system, we were able to observe the lungs, which you can see peeking out behind the heart. We also saw the trachea. The lungs had a more smooth appearance, whereas the trachea appeared rigid. We were able to see some rings going up and down it. One big takeaway from this section was how closely connected the circulatory system is with the respiratory system, and how their functions overlap. So the circulatory system is responsible for distributing oxygen throughout the body, whereas the respiratory system helps to actually bring in that oxygen as well as other nutrients. A rat's digestive system is made up of many different structures that all serve a unique purpose. The small intestine, stomach, and large intestines are all closely connected, and they help to break down incoming food. The spleen is located near the stomach, and it aids in a lot of immune functions. It produces a lot of the immune cells that help to keep a rat healthy in its lifetime. In the second picture, you'll see where we saw the kidneys. Unfortunately, there was some dye covering it, so it's not a great picture, but those were the approximate locations. The main function of kidneys is to remove the waste products from blood, so that it's able to go back into the heart, and the kidneys work very closely with the excretory system as well. Finally, we observed the reproductive system and the excretory system. So for the reproductive system, our rat was a male, and so we observed testes as well as the prostate gland, which the testes are responsible for carrying the sperm until the rat is able to reach reproductive age and reproduce, and the prostate gland helps produce hormones. These hormones help regulate its development into an adult rat. And then we have the excretory system, which is responsible again in removing waste. And so what we saw from there was the bladder, which helps to store the urine, as well as the ureters, which play a role in transporting the urine out of the body. Similar to humans, it's very important that a rat's reproductive system is working properly because it allows them to carry offsprings and transfer their genes on to the following generation and to escape extinction. When it comes to extinction, rats are actually considered animals of least concern because of their success in these areas. Between rats and frogs, there are similarities in the types of systems in their bodies. However, rats do contain a few unique structures, including a diaphragm, as well as the ribs. These two structures serve similar purposes of protecting the organs found within the rat. From an evolution standpoint, it looks like these structures developed in the rat and not the frog because the rat lived in a more rough terrain where it would be encountering twigs, rocks, and all these environmental factors that could harm it, whereas this was likely not the case for frogs.